Well, 2025, guys, is starting off with, I'm going to call it a major event, Jarrod. But
Continue.
it's not a World Cup, but it's still major-ish. I mean, it's not a bilateral series,
Well,
is
it's
it?
either major or it's not major. And you've already said major-ish.
Can we call the Champions Trophy a major?
It's like the EFL trophy.
Then it's not major.
We've cancelled this tournament like 2 times. It can't be that.
What are you most looking forward to, the EFL Trophy or the Champions Trophy?
EFL trophy.
Okay, then it's not a major. I'm really, really sorry.
England Football League. Oh. Yeah. Football League.
Okay.
Well, Football League.
Team play, isn't it?
Trophy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See how quickly I lost interest.
Yeah, I've never seen you look so bored before. Kill that. So we've got the Champions Trophy in 2025, and it's going to be in Pakistan. And we learned around a week or so ago.
Maybe.
Well, but yeah, good question. Potentially, it's supposed to be in Pakistan, isn't it? And we learned a week or so ago that India have told the ICC they're not going to be playing any matches in Pakistan. We know, of course, there's political tensions between India and Pakistan, and we also know, apart from the World Cups, India and Pakistan do not play each other in cricket matches. Jarrod, I'll start with you. When India tell the ICC we are not going to play in Pakistan, when that piece of information gets related, what do you then think should happen? What should be the next logical step?
I think the conversation is then, does Pakistan want to move the game? And as far as I understand at the moment, they're suggesting they don't.
So when you say move it, you mean they just forfeit the tournament?
No. So is Pakistan willing to play India outside of India, I think is... outside. Is Pakistan willing to play India outside of Pakistan is the first question.
So India play their Champions Trophy games in the UAE, for argument's sake?
For instance, yes. Because I think that's fair to... Pakistan are the hosts, and it's a very important game to Pakistan as well. Right? This isn't just an important game to India or to the ICC, it's important to Pakistan.
It's their first global tournament since '96.
Exactly. So they should be asked and be given that. And then they have the option then to be like, actually, no, we want this to be played. And if it's going to be played, it's going to be played at home. That's up to them. They're the hosts. They were given the hosting rights, right? Like India had as much say in Pakistan getting the hosting as anyone else. Like we talk about how much power India has within cricket. Well, Pakistan is hosting the Champions Trophy, right? So Pakistan got this option. So they should have been... ICC should have gone to them and said, India's not going to come, which we all knew from the start. Like this, it's such a... The problem with all this is it's taken months/years for this decision when we all know it from the start. India was never going to be able to go. The BCCI is so involved with BJP, the major Indian political party. They were never going to allow them to go to Pakistan and allow this to happen. So it was never going to happen. We all knew that, fine. It's taken too long to get to this point. But you have to go to Pakistan and say, this is an important game for you. Are you willing to move it? And if Pakistan say no, then the same thing should happen to the points as would normally happen when Australia and the West Indies refused to go to Sri Lanka, when England refused to go to Kenya, was it, in 2003 World Cup? Those teams got the points. I think that's a normal way that this will go. The reason it won't do that is the Champions Trophy only exists for one reason, Sam, when that is so India and Pakistan can play each other. It is the only reason this tournament...
Is that genuinely true?
It is the only reason this tournament exists. So that is the complication here. And that's why we're in a situation where all these other things could happen.
Is it that India are not going to Pakistan, period? Or
They're not going to go at all.
They're not going to go at all?
No.
So...
They were never going to go.
So this is a political decision?
Yes.
It's not the BCCI and a cricket in pure cricket, because the other thing is that everybody would understand that the players, the cricketers of Pakistan and India get on fine.
They get on really well.
Get on really well.
Yeah.
So from then Pakistan's point of view
I mean, I'm not saying there aren't Indian players who might not want to go as well, because we've seen that before as well.
And you've got an option as a player. I'm sorry, I don't want to go.
So Stuart McGill pulled out of a tour to Zimbabwe once for political reasons, not for safety reasons, for political reasons. So we've seen people do stuff like that before as well. And again, as far as everyone talked about it at the time, but it's not a blight on Stuart McGill's career. He had politics and he didn't believe in what Zimbabwe were doing, so he didn't go there.
Weren't England under Nasser Hussain stopped from going to Zimbabwe?
I thought it was Kenya in 2003.
Might have been that.
Yeah, I can't remember if they ever didn't play Zimbabwe, but there was certainly a lot of political pressure with Zimbabwe, so you might be right.
When Nasser
You're the expert on Zimbabwe-England relations, so...
Well, I was out of it at that stage. But it's a political decision, and we would always say that sport and politics shouldn't mix. So what should happen? You forfeit. If you're not going to the country, surely you can't be in the competition, can you?
You think as soon as they say we're not playing in Pakistan, that's it, they're out?
Yeah, I think so, because they've made a decision that round the table, all the governing bodies, that this Champions Trophy is going to be in Pakistan.
Yep.
Did India at that stage say, hang on, we're not going?
So my theory, and I had talked to some insiders on this, but my theory is that there was a small amount of hope that India were willing to think about going, right? And when I was told that by people in the know, I said, they're not going. And we all know they're not going.
But that's political. It's a political government who's saying, we aren't going.
Essentially, yes. And it's also, it's not, I think the Indian blind team was scheduled to go to Pakistan and they've just pulled out. There have been teams from India sporting teams from India who played in Pakistan in the last little while. So it has happened before, and they have got incredible security and everything else. But yeah, when it comes down to it, that's what it is. But the problem is that the Champions Trophy, as I said, exists for one game.
Yeah, you said, yeah.
And then on the back end of that, India is the most important team, right? So there's no point playing the Champions Trophy if India isn't playing. That's where the ICC have got themselves into such a tangle.
But so having listened to the both of you, the question and the answer, in my own mind, this Champions Trophy is in Pakistan.
Yep.
One team says we ain't going, fine, we'll carry on with all the other teams. Simple, isn't it?
But then the other argument would be it's India.
There ain't another argument. There ain't. It's in this Champions
If we're talking about
Trophy-
cricket, there's no other argument, is there?
There isn't. This Champions Trophy is in Pakistan. You've all agreed it's in Pakistan.
Yeah.
We're not going. Fine.
Yeah. So
Carry on.
Throw India out of the tournament and carry on without
Carry
them.
on.
that would be how it would be done in a normal world.
That's what I'm saying.
But we're not in
because
that
it's
world.
cricket, because it's India.
Yeah.
Can you really see a situation where you just get? It's not going to happen, is it? Right?
It is much more likely that Pakistan lose the entire tournament than it is that India don't play in it.
The whole tournament.
The entire tournament. Because what Pakistan are now saying is, wait a minute, we signed up for this. They've changed their mind. Why should we have to do this? Now it's causing a rift. Also, there's the whole UAE thing and everything else. But also, there was a rumor that South Africa was going to be hosting the tournament.
I heard that on social media.
So we're not with social media rumors, it only Bumble. I mean, I heard it from not social media, so it's not just a made-up thing. South Africa was sounded out, I believe, to see if they could have the grounds ready.
And do they?
It's February. They should be okay by that point.
Jarrod, Sam, if India say we ain't going to Pakistan have to back down to say we're going to the UAE.
Yes.
They're backing down. They ain't doing that either.
Well, this is the problem. The new chairman of PCB, who's made, they've had 8 coaches in the last, they've had 8 press releases about 6 different coaches in the last week.
I've read that.
Yeah. So he plays a lot of shots, this guy. He's saying we want to do it, but they're talking about the CAS. Do you guys know what that is? It's basically the Court of Arbitration of Sport, right? So Pakistan are talking about taking it beyond cricket. The issue is that this game is actually really important for Pakistan as well, though. All right, and India isn't coming. We just have to accept that India is not going to be going to Pakistan, right? Whether they get kicked out of the tournament, they don't play or whatever, we have to accept that they're not going there. But this game is equally important for Pakistan because Pakistan's last chip, really, is that they are the other half on the most important game in cricket, right? And they've never played that chip before, right? They have an option now to be able to say, no, we're hosting the tournament, and we will play India, but we're going to do it on our terms in the way that we want to do it. They've never played that chip before, and realistically, they're not. England and Australia still have slightly more power in cricket than Pakistan do. That may not be the case in 10 or 15 years' time, but it is at the moment. And within that, Pakistan's main thing is this game. So they've never used that as a political chip before. India have used, their muscle before, but Pakistan has never really come in. This is the first time that they could say, no, you're making all this money off the Champions Trophy, and a big chunk of that money is because we play India in this tournament, right? And it's not the only tournament we've had this. There was the Asia Cup recently, which also only exists so India can play Pakistan, and that ended up half of it being played in Sri Lanka as well. So it has happened before, and they did. That time, they went with the flow because it was more important for them to play India than to not play India, but they could go the other way.
Will they though?
I don't know. As I said, he's a new chairman and he's obviously very nationalistic and he's very upset at this situation. And he's probably looking at it the same way that Bumble is at the moment, going, you guys all agreed to come out here.
Yeah, don't 2 months before, don't pull out,
You
right?
didn't want to play. If this wasn't going to happen, why didn't you pull out a year ago or tell us a year ago? Like, why wait till the last minute? And I think that's more than acceptable. This decision has taken far too long for what we knew was they were never going to go. They were never, from the moment we all heard this tournament was going to be played in Pakistan,
They ain't good.
none of us ever thought India. No one who knew world cricket thought that India was going to play.
But you genuinely think that if the Pakistan Cricket Board sticks to their guns and say, no, it's all in Pakistan, we are not moving anything, and then India don't go, you genuinely think that the ICC will then take the tournament away from Pakistan just so India play in it?
I think
like it's impossible this tournament happens without India
Yeah,
because of it's India.
it's India, yeah. India is more important than Pakistan.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to it, I think they would do that. That's when maybe the CAS get back involved and we get into a very interesting legal...
So the Pakistan say, well, we're not going.
And that is the chip,
Sure, yeah, that's what
right?
we're
Because then you say, okay, we know how much the India-Pakistan game is worth in the Champions Trophy.
We're not going.
We're not going to go. Now what do? And I think what the ICC would be like, well, we'll still make more money having India not play Pakistan.
Because India, Australia, India, England, India, South Africa are all still really, I know it's not Pakistan, but they're all still really big games, aren't they?
Yeah, but I think
Because it's India.
I think that other game's probably...
Bigger, sure, but the games I mentioned are still important games, right?
They are.
They're still sexy games, the Champions Trophy.
yeah, but there's a difference between 1 billion people watching one game and a couple of 100 million. There
Sure.
really is. I mean, the finances of those games are just so ridiculous.
Massive.
Right? It outweighs everything. Oh, look, I haven't done a deep dive into the Champions Trophy, but my guess is it's probably worth almost half the tournament for one game.
Right.
Right? And so if you take that out,
Yeah.
it's not safe.
Well,
What would you do, Sam?
Well, I haven't listened to everything you guys have just said. I think the most reasonable, the thing that's going to happen here is I just think India are going to play all of their matches in the UAE.
I think
so. I think Pakistan will still get 95% of the tournament, but it seems to me the logical resolution here is that India will play all the games in the UAE.
And I think what Pakistan
I'm not
will
saying that's right, Bumble, by the way.
Yeah.
It's not fair on Pakistan, but that's what's going to happen.
I think the most logical thing is also Pakistan asked for the full hosting fee. And I know that's a little thing, but like if I was them, I'd say, no, okay, you guys can pay out of your own pocket for the UAE games. We signed up for this. We want the full hosting fee. And then we are willing to go and play because then Pakistan don't lose out on any money.
They still get the full revenue.
Yeah, so I think that is something that will happen. Yeah.